James Innes. I'm a public safety organizer at New York Communities for Change, and I appreciate everybody for coming out, first of all. Second of all, I know everybody's wondering why we are out here standing in front of a Key Food, right? And I know y'all are also wondering why we have cartons of eggs and milk out here with us. So I just want to tell y'all a little story real quick. Less than a week ago, on Valentine's Day nonetheless, the Wall Street Journal printed an article titled, "In order to save money, maybe you should skip breakfast." I'm gonna say that again. Maybe, in order to save money, maybe you should skip breakfast. Now, maybe they meant that as a joke, and maybe some Wall Street Journal readers thought it was funny. And let me read a quick excerpt from it real quick. Egg prices increased 8.5% in January, month over month, and are up 70% over the last year. The highest annual increase since 1973. Now imagine yourself, a New Yorker, living in the South Bronx, living in Flatbush, Far Rockaway, or even the village of Hempstead out on Long Island. You make minimum wage, maybe a little bit more than minimum wage. You're struggling to make ends meet. And you see an article like this in the Wall Street Journal. Was that funny to you?
No.
No.
Now imagine this. You're a recently returned New Yorker who's struggling to make ends meet, having a hard time to find a job, having a hard time finding housing. And you also have to pay predatory court fines and fees because you've been released from prison, because you've earned your release, because you've shown the system that you should be here in society. Now you have to pay a fee on top of that, and then a fine and a fee on top of the fine, just to be here and to be a constructive citizen with the rest of us, right? That is predatory. That is violence against our black and brown communities. And that is the reason why we are all out here today, to fight to stop these predatory fees put on us by the New York State court system. So with that, I just want to quickly thank all of y'all for coming out again. I'm standing next to the sponsors of the End Predatory Court Fees Bill Act, State Senator Julia Salazar and Assemblymember Kenny Burgos, along with other advocates from the No Price on Parole Coalition. And we are here to say, this is predatory, this is violence, and this needs to stop. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring up our first speaker. She's a state senator from Brooklyn. She's a friend, she's a comrade, and she's here today, Julia Salazar.
Thank you so much, James. Good morning, everyone. It is great to be here with all of you. As James mentioned, I am Senator Julia Salazar, and along with Assemblyman Burgos, I am the sponsor of the End Predatory Court Fees Act. And we are outside Key Food today to demonstrate the costs that are impacting everyday New Yorkers. Right now, more than 60% of New Yorkers cannot afford even their basic needs, right? People who are just trying to come to the supermarket, get a gallon of milk. It's because of price increases right now that are affecting all of us. But for thousands of New Yorkers, it's also because they are unnecessarily burdened with court debt. Fines, fees, surcharges that apply to every conviction, that apply to violations, even the most basic traffic infractions come with a cost. And what it really is a regressive tax on the most low income and vulnerable New Yorkers. By continuing this system of court fines, fees, and surcharges in New York State, we are perpetuating punishment. And keep in mind that many of these fees and fines were never intended, they are not even ostensibly supposed to be punishment. They were created as this backwards regressive mechanism for raising revenue and recuperating costs for our court system. But the responsibility for funding our court system should never fall on the backs of working people. But right now, that is the reality in our state. It doesn't need to be this way. If we pass the End Predatory Court Fees Act, which we must do this legislative session, we must do it in this budget. If we pass the End Predatory Court Fees Act, we can make sure that everyday New Yorkers can more easily afford to come to Key Food and get groceries without worrying about the fees that they owe our court system, without worrying that they're gonna be in this cycle of debt solely because we have this unjust system that criminalizes poverty. It needs to end today, and that's why I am so grateful for all of you who are here supporting the End Predatory Court Fees Act. Let's get this done in the state legislature this session. Thank you.
Woo!
No price on justice.
No price on justice.
No price on justice.
No price on justice.
Thank you for that, Senator Salazar. Before I go on, I just wanted to tell everybody for no reason at all that I'm from the Bronx.
No reason, man.
There is a reason, because our next speaker is also an assembly member from the Bronx. And I say that because when Bronx legislators talk, they sit there in the legislative session and they ask New York State civil judges serious questions. And when the man to my right asked this New York State judge a serious question on this topic a few weeks ago, that judge had absolutely no answer for this man. So I just want to bring up for everybody, Assembly Member Kenny Burgers from the Bronx.
Morning, everyone, and thank you all for being out here today. I want to start out by saying to all those watching from live streams or when you watch this video, and of course people here, are you aware that it's still a crime to be poor here in New York in 2023? And are you aware that if you're poor, you will fund that same system that perpetuates your poverty?